Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. We're back here in the blacksmith shop, and it's the day after Christmas. Go figure. No snow. It's Michigan. Usually we're about this deep in it by now. But that's okay. Blacksmith shop is a mess. As you can see, there's stuff piled in here just willy-nilly. But I want to get out the blow torches and do some heating on a number 4 Stanley plane. I want to silver solder it. So I don't want to do that in the garage. I kind of like to have all the flame and heat and fire stuff out here. Now, I know I've got the welder in the garage, but that's because I don't have power out here right now. But I'd like to keep all the fire and flame at least 50 feet away from the house. That way, if this building burns down, I'll be very sad. If the house burns down, I will be really screwed. So the idea is to keep the distance separated between the two so that the dangerous stuff happens out here. But first, before I can do anything, I got to straighten up a bit. When we moved here, evidently there was a chunk of railroad that got taken out of town, and somebody found a whole lot of plates because they were buried in the back under the weeds. And it's a lot of scrap iron. You can't sell it. If you try and sell it, they're going to nail you for selling railroad property. But I use it for counterweight. Something to beat on if I need something to beat on. But right now, it's just something I gotta move a lot. This is my blacksmithing bench. Got my post vise mounted to it. It is a rare and delicate piece of equipment made out of an old washing machine base. Something my dad had laying over by his garage after he disassembled an old washing machine out of a coin-op laundry. And when I needed an iron frame to mount my post vise on, I just went over and dug through the scrap pile and brought this home. Before I had this barn, I stored it over at a friend's house. So this thing's been moved 3 times now. But I don't think it's going to wear out on me. It's pretty solid. That's my backup generator. Well, it's a backup to the backup because right now it doesn't run. It was sitting in an antique shop. Wonder how I got there, huh? Sitting in an antique shop, and it had been sitting there for 2 years. And I said, you know, you're not going to sell that at the price you got it. What would you take for it? And they dropped it down 50%, and I brought it home for 40 bucks. I said, well, even if it doesn't run, all I'm out is 40 bucks. And I have a pretty good inkling that I can make it work. It's old. It's from the 70s. So that puts it 40 years old, which is still 20 years younger than me, but that's pretty old for a piece of machinery. I'm wearing out. And I'm kind of one of those self-renewing pieces of equipment. Tub full of sand. Who carries a tub full of sand around? Well, evidently I do. When you have a bunch of little barns, Most of the storage operation consists of moving things from one barn to the other, depending on which barn you're working in. I don't expect to be using the lawnmower a whole lot this winter, so I've got it stored in the barn and I'm piling stuff on top of it. The goal here is just to clear out a little corner so I can use this bench. You always want to check the fuel level on these when they're cold, because you really don't want to fill one when it's pressurized. Once it's up and warm, you want to let it cool off really good before you bring any fuel near it. It's been a few years since I used this Coleman fuel. As far as I know, it doesn't go bad in the can. There, we're full. Not a requirement to close the can in between operations, but you know, a little bit of precaution goes a long way. This is an air pump. Got a little check valve on the bottom. It's a little spot for oil right there. Just want to give it a drop or two, not a whole lot. Pump has a leather cup in it. And the oil lubricates the leather, makes it seal so that you get a good pressure. Okay, this one's ready to go. Now these other two, I don't remember ever using them. So these are going to need a little more checking. Chances are one of the two isn't going to work. This one's not pumping anything. We'll try oiling the packing. If that does anything for us. I think I'm going to set this one back because I don't think this one's going to work today. Let's hope the other one does. It's a little newer. Might be in better shape. We can always hope. Well, the pump's working, and that's a good sign. That's the leather. Now somebody has goofed this one up. Evidently it's not bothering it a whole lot. If you fold that leather over, it'll cause it to leak past the seal. I'm going to oil up this leather. Got to kind of tuck it in there. Make sure it doesn't fold over. And then a little bit of oil on this shaft. Now, something I'd done previously was check the seal on that. I checked the seal on the other blowtorch just to make sure it wasn't going to leak around the shaft here. Okay, we're getting air out of it. Now it's starting to pump. Had to get that packing pushed out, a little back pressure on it so that it flared out against the sides of the pump. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's hissing now. Now the next step is going to happen outside. When I get this thing filled up and we're ready to fire them off, I'm going to move them out onto a bench outside the building. It's been a long time since these were used, and I don't want to have any problems.